Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current latest news. Quite a few more things is currently updated in the press. I hope you're all doing wonderfully well currently on this Sunday evening. So there's lots to talk about today on this live video, so if you do consider, smash the like button. If you do consider subscribe, drop a comment on this video. As I said, to Jose Mourinho, as we all know, is reportedly going to get £100 million spending spree in January. Reportedly, the board are backing Jose Mourinho. We know he's been under so much immense pressure, considering our poor start to this season. As I said, it was a disappointing summer window because we only got Doyle in, we only got Lee Grant in second choice keeper, and we only got Fred in, who potentially paid £50 million for. We know Mourinho's spent just under £400 million so far on 11 players. We know he's sanctioned 14 players off. He's looking to sanction a couple of centre defenders in the January window as well. As we all know, potentially under Louis van Gaal, with 12 players in. We know we've only got 6 of them players, still in the squad. Obviously, 6 departed, as we all know. So Jose Mourinho's looking to strengthen the defensive. He knows the defensive issues, and he's looking for a potential attacker as well. And we know he's linked with a hell of a lot of players. He's Jose Mourinho, and considering the amount of money we spent, we're not in the commanding position, basically that we should be in. But according to the press, I'm going to update you with the Patrice Evra news. First, according to the press, Patrice Evra, currently the ex-Manchester United player. He was a fantastic legend at Manchester United. He's currently French. As we all know, he had 8 great years with Manchester United. Did the play, won back-to-back Premier Leagues with us. He won 15 major honours. With the club. Did every. Under Alex Ferguson, he was fantastic. Playing alongside the likes of Nemanja Vidic, Ferdinand. Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney. Owen Hargreaves, all them great players that we had, whenever was basically in the Manchester United team. We got him from Monaco, the player. As we all know, reportedly, it's according to the press that Patrice Evra is in discussions with Manchester United of potentially potentially becoming the club's ambassador. So reportedly, he's been in talks as ever becoming the club ambassador at Manchester United. He's a left back. His versatility is very good. Very good in the air as well. Patrice Evra, and I really liked Patrice Evra. We know the last club he was at was West Ham. He's also been at Marseille. He's been at Juventus, where he won honours as well. Been at Manchester United, where he was absolutely fantastic. Being at Monaco, also being at Nice, and he's risen up the ranks in his youth system with Paris Saint-Germain as well. So he has won quite a lot of honours, during his career as Patrice Evra. He has a good relationship with Martial and Paul Pogba as well, because obviously they're both play for France as well, and obviously Patrice Evra is French himself. He's been seen at Old Trafford in the director's box quite a lot of times as Patrice Evra, but reportedly he's in discussions of potentially becoming return to Old Trafford to become the club's ambassador, according to the reports. I was a really big fan of Patrice Evra. Very good in that left back position for us. We've just paid up, was it over £5 million for him from Monaco? He was here for 8 years. He was here between, was it 2006 to 2014, the player. So he experienced a fantastic times under Alex Ferguson. 3 decades of success as well. As we all know, Alex Ferguson, nearly 3 decades success. Fantastic manager, but we know we're having problems under Mourinho. There's players having disputes with Mourinho. With his tactics, with his reluctance to drop Nemanja Matic. Don't forget Mourinho. Jose Mourinho has got a fantastic pedigree, as we all know, but obviously there's players unhappy with his style of play, his managerial style, as we all know. But that's the latest news to update you with Patrice Evra. He's also won Player of the Year before. He's also won Team of the Year before as Patrice Evra. So he's won awards, he's won honours. But he was a great player at Manchester United in that fullback position. But, a lot of the teams he's been at have been French teams. He's been at 2 Premier League sides, United, and obviously recently had been at West Ham as well, at the player. But I really like him. He was a very good player for Manchester United back in the Fergie days. He experienced a fantastic at the club, so potentially he's in negotiation becoming the club's ambassador. Also, potential latest news about Memphis Depay, as I updated you on my earlier video today. Memphis Depay, I really like Memphis Depay. He didn't really make an impact under Louis van Gaal, but I think he's been in fantastic form for Lyon. He was also very good at PSV Eindhoven as well. Eindhoven as well. Up the ranks. Memphis Depay, I think he's good at cutting inside defenders. His dribbling's very good, and he scored goals. For Leon, and I think he's been there 2 or 3 years now at Leon. But potentially, could he potentially make a return to Manchester United? There's a lot of Man United fans that want to see him come back into the club. Basically they want Jose Mourinho to activate his buyback clause at Memphis Depay. I think we paid around £25 million for the player from where did we get him from now? We got him from PSV Eindhoven. I think we paid around £25 million for him. He was here a couple of years, but he didn't really make an impact for Manchester United in Memphis Depay. But I do really like him, and we have seen players in the past go back to their ex-clubs. You see it with Thierry Henry, fantastic legend. Obviously Arsenal's all-time leading goal scorer. Also France's all-time record goal scorer as well as Thierry Henry. He's been at Barcelona, New York Red Bulls. He was at Arsenal, where he was very good. And he went back to Arsenal in 2012. So he went back to his ex-club. We saw David Luiz, go back to Chelsea from Paris Saint-Germain. We saw... who else did we see go back to the ex-club? Henry, David Luiz... And we also saw, I can't remember him all, but we also saw Diego Costa go back to Atletico Madrid, and that's where originally Chelsea purchased him from, Atletico Madrid. But obviously, he was a disrespect for Chelsea, he was disrespectful to the club, and essentially he went back to Atletico Madrid, so he went back to his ex-club as well. Quite a few players over the years have gone back to the ex-club that they used to play for. For me, Memphis Depay would fit the candidate very well, even though he didn't make an impact under Louis van Gaal. He didn't do really well in English football, when he was Man United. But outside of English football, he's established himself for country and Lyon, fantastically well. As I said, for PSV, he scored 50 goals in 24 games in all competitions. In 2014-15, he was their top scorer and helped them win the division title. PSV didn't really make an impact at United, but obviously got voted the best young player in the world by France Football as well. Did Memphis Depay. He's a very good player. I think there's a lot of Manchester United fans that want to see him come back to the club, as we all said, because potentially Sanchez isn't really doing it at Old Trafford. Sanchez, who we've only had since January, hasn't really made the impact since he's come to Old Trafford, as we all know. As I said, very good during his 4 or 5 years under Wenger. Very good with Barca, very good with Underneath and all that, but he's on $500,000 a week and he hasn't established himself well at the club. PSG are linked with him, as we all know, so potentially he could leave in January, he could leave next summer. He's basically not getting along with a lot of the teammates, his Alexis Sanchez at the moment, and potentially I think we need a more experienced left winger, as I say, because Martial's still young and needs to grow and develop, and so too is Marcus Rashford. They're great young talented players with great young prospects, but I think, they still need to grow and develop. I think we need a more, experienced left winger. As I said, Perisic would have been ideal, good two-footed player, good in the air, good at putting balls into the box. But potentially Sanchez, is experienced, but obviously he hasn't fitted into the Manchester United agenda correctly. So potentially, with him go, Mourinho's looking to sanction quite a few players off, as I said. But potentially, would you want Memphis Depay back at Manchester United? He's doing very well for Lyon. He did do well in his PSV Eindhoven days. He didn't do well at Manchester United, under Louis van Gaal. Obviously, Mourinho sanctioned him off. Mourinho's bought 11 players. He's sanctioned 14 players off, as I said. According to the media, though, Mourinho has been under a lot of pressure. A lot of fans want him out, due to his tactics, and his team selection isn't very good. And due to that, we've only won three all season. We've conceded 21 goals this season, so we have got a terrible goal difference, as we all know. Potentially, Mourinho needs to drop Nemanja Matic. We know Jose Mourinho has a fantastic relationship with Nemanja Matic, as we all know. But potentially, there's a lot of transfer rumours going on that there's a lot of central defenders Manchester United are linked with. There's quite a there's we linked with quite a few players, for the January transfer window as well. Reportedly, according to the press, Kante has been mentioned. He is a good central defensive midfielder for Chelsea. I think he's been there quite a few years now. I don't like Matic in that midfield because he hasn't really established himself well this season. Fellaini, Matic and Herrera is no midfield. It just looks a total static midfield, as you saw against Manchester City last week. But potentially Man United have been in contact with Chelsea. Man United have been in discussions with Kante's representatives over Manchester United potentially making a move for him. We know Chelsea potentially know that he's a key player. As we all know, Chelsea have got Sarari in now. They've had a lot of managers in a short period of time of Chelsea and they've been sacked. Obviously, they've got Sarari in now, so obviously for Chelsea, he's still a lethal player. Manchester United have done deals with Chelsea in the past. We've got Juan Mata in 2014 under the Moyes. I think he's a very, very good, consistent player. He's Juan Mata's quite fair. He's coming to the end of his deal. We also got Nemanja Matic from Chelsea last year or so, was it, as well. But Kante is a player, very, very good player. He was, he risen up the ranks of Balloon, whatever they call him. He spent 2 years with Chan, then Leicester got him, for like 5 million. He spent 1 year with Leicester, under Claudio Ranieri, he won the Premier League in his first season with Leicester, did Kante. Then Chelsea got him for £2 million, won the Premier League in his first season with Chelsea as well. Did Kante. He won the Premier League in his first season with Chelsea. And he's been at Chelsea quite a few years now. He's a good box-to-box midfielder, good in the air, versatility, very, very good as well, very, very good on the ball. So do you think he'd complement our midfield fantastically well, Kante, if he was to come to Old Trafford? So reportedly Manchester United have been linked to him as well. I think he'd do very, very well because I am a fan of Kante, to be quite fair to you guys. I'm a big, big fan of him. Potentially, do you think we do need another defensive midfielder? Because Fred isn't really getting the opportunity since he's come last summer. Obviously, we know Fellaini isn't that good. He has the odd good game here and there, but we know he's an average player who come from an average team, of course, who Moyes got in. But yeah, potentially we are linked with a few central defenders. Let's put my phone on charge. I said, yeah, we are linked with a few central defenders. Mourinho's looking to get rid of a few central defenders, as we all know. Potentially, he's looking to sanction Rojo off. For me, hasn't been the same player since he suffered that injury against Anderlecht, was it a year or so ago? He's looking to the team because he can't potentially get into the starting 11 at the moment. There's been quite a few teams interested in him, like Arsenal, Tottenham, Milan, and Paris Saint-Germain have been a candidate, have been on the agenda as well, showing an interest in Eric Bailly because he can't even get into the starting 11 at the moment. Can Eric Bailly, the player we got £30 million in Villarreal. Potentially Darmian's also coming to a deal at Manchester United. There's a few Italian clubs interested in him. He's recently played in Italy before with Torino. I think this is his third or fourth season now in Man United. From his perspectives, Darmian, I think he wants to leave. But Jose Mourinho's reportedly wants to keep him till the end of the season, where Luke Shaw's been full in that left back position this season. We know he's had injuries during his career a lot, but potentially he had disputes with Jose Mourinho last season. Luke Shaw also struggled in his first season, with Louis van Gaal, when we potentially signed him from Southampton in 2014. So potentially Darmian could leave in January as well. Potentially, as we all know, Mourinho has been linked with what's his name? Has been linked with Toby Alderweireld. He's also been linked with Diego Gordon from Atletico Madrid as well. As I said, Toby Alderweireld, reportedly Manchester United are looking to go for him in January. Ed Woodward has been in discussions potentially, with Tottenham during last summer because Man United were heavily linked with him. We couldn't materialise a deal through for the player because Tottenham were demanding that they wanted around £60 million for Toby Alderweireld. He can play as a centre back. He can also play as a left back as well, the player. But potentially, I think that's one of Jose Mourinho's priority targets, to get in the January window. Man United are aware he's available for around 24-25 million next summer. But potentially, Tottenham would rather cash more money in the January window rather than let him go for 25 million next summer, because he has a 25 million, release clause for next summer. Man United have been monitoring Jose Mourinho's being impressed. Is being impressed with Toby Alderweireld. He's proven in the Premier League as well. As I said, he's been at Southampton in the past. He's also been at Atletico Madrid. Where he won the La Liga with them and got to Champions League finalists for season. Also been at Ajax as well, where he won on his own, won 3 Eredivisie titles with them as well as Toby Alderweireld. But potentially, I think this will tempt Tottenham Hotspur to sanction him off in January window. Tottenham still know he's a crucial player to them, because obviously I think they've got Vertonghen out at the moment. But Tottenham, I think he's been at Tottenham now. Is it like 3 years, something like that? 3 or 4 years now he's been at Tottenham Hotspur. I think he's been at Tottenham since 2015 as a player. But reportedly, it says Man United are willing to do a cut price deal for the player in the January transfer window. Reportedly, we know during the course of the last, the summer there, Tottenham wanted Martial. Chelsea were also interested in Anthony Martial, but Mourinho wants him to stay at the club. We know he's been withdrawn from the France squad, but we know Mourinho wants to stay at the club. Based on especially based on his fantastic performances this season. Man United and his representatives have been in talks of securing him a new deal. Martial had turned the previous contract offer down, as we all know. But potentially he has been fantastic this season. We know he's been full in that spot. Or Rashford being full in Romelu Lukaku's spot, because obviously Lukaku hasn't been in great form this season. Compared to last season, Lukaku was in a fantastic form. He's well proven in the Premier League. Everyone talks about him being a big game bottler. His first touch is also not so good as well. But he needs to adapt himself better. But potentially also Manchester United have also been linked with Diego Gordon. He's a player that has a 20 million release clause. He's also another player coming to an end of his deal is Toby Alderweireld. Diego Gordon. He's a player coming to an end of his deal with Atletico Madrid. Reportedly, Atletico Madrid want to secure him a new deal. Reportedly, Man United have been in discussions with Atletico Madrid over this, because Man United were heavily linked with him during the course of the summer. Do you think he complement our defence fantastically well, Diego Gordon? But obviously he's never been proven in the Premier League, because obviously Diego Gordon has never played in the Premier League, as we all currently know. He's a player that's been in Spain for like a decade now. As I said, he worked Villarreal 3 years. He worked Villarreal 3 years or so. Now he's at Atletico Madrid. He's been at Atletico Madrid now 8 or 9 years. The player has won 7 honours or something like that, as we all know. But potentially Manchester United are heavily now have renewed their interest in the player, as we all currently know. Reportedly as well, according to the press, Man United have reportedly had a 90 million bid turned down for Kalouabe, the current Napoli central defender. I don't think I can pronounce his name correctly, but reportedly he's just been nominated the African Player of the Year recently. He's a player that plays with Napoli. Reportedly he can play as a central defender, he can play as a left back, and he can play as a defensive mid as well. Well, he has operated as a defensive midfielder in the past as well. According to reports, Man United have put 90 million in for him. Napoli have turned this down. They've rejected this offer. Reportedly, he's been in Italy since 2014. He's also been at Genk and Metz. Is that how you pronounce it? In the past as well. Reportedly, he's got a contract with them until 2022 and 2023 as Kalouabe. I've never really watched much of him, but I know Manchester United and Mourinho have had a strong interest in the player. So reportedly, Manchester United have been potentially linked with him as well. So Mourinho's got a lot of players on his agenda, but we know he's been under pressure. Considering his history, considering he's got a good pedigree, he's well proven in the Premier League, and considering that potentially, he's only won 3 trophies since he's come to the club. He's only won Europa League, the League Cup, as we all know, Jose Mourinho. And potentially, a lot of these players want to be up there competing, with the big teams, and, be up there challenging for the Premier League and the Champions League. And, we all hope this team now, the team, especially Mourinho's got in, would be comparable to the team that Alex Ferguson had. We know Mourinho's still inheriting some of the players Van Gaal got in. he's still inheriting two of the players Moyes got, and there's still some players here now from the Fergie era, such as Valencia, Ashley Young, Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, De Gea, as we all know. As we all know, but potentially we know there's been talks about Mourinho getting the sack. Mourinho getting the sack. There's been talks about Zinedine Zidane replacing him and Conte replacing him as well. Cause potentially Conte has proven in the Premier League. We know he won the Premier League with Chelsea in his first season, the FA Cup with Chelsea. We know he managed Juventus, Atlanta, and that did Conte. We know he played for Juventus in his senior career as well and won honours, did Conte. So he's proven in the Premier League with Chelsea. Reportedly Zidane's been in discussions. Been in discussions with his representatives about coming to potentially managing English football. He's never played or managed in English football as Zidane. He managed Real Madrid, played for Real Madrid, won honours. Also played for Juventus during his career as well. It also mentioned Paris Saint-Germain, were interested in appointing him as manager. He's managerless at the moment. And also too, Bayern Munich were interested in appointing him because obviously Bayern Munich are obviously not satisfied with Kovac, their current manager they've got at this moment in time. There's still, ex-players of Manchester United back in Mourinho. There's some fans, there's a lot of fans that want him out. As I said, I'm not too sure of him. At the moment, his style of play is not very, very good. His managerial style is not very, very good at the moment. We know he's had, with Paul Pogba, he's recently been injured. I hope he's fit for the Crystal Palace game, is Paul Pogba. But potentially Paul Pogba, obviously he left in 2012, due to that Fergie wasn't, he wasn't going to get enough first team action. He had 4 or 5 good years, with Juventus, won honours, made 179 appearances. Now Manchester United paid £89 million for him. He's not really making an impact. He's still basically our most essential midfielder, because you can tell in that midfield without Paul Pogba, we play a different style of play. Without him, you could see that in the Manchester derby, because he obviously suffered an injury, did Paul Pogba. But potentially, he's had disputes with Mourinho. Potentially, he loves Manchester United as Pogba. He said he's always dreamt playing for Manchester United. He has a good friendship with Lukaku as well. But potentially, he said he's always dreamt of playing for Manchester United, and he said he wants to come in and score goals. He has proved himself well in the odd game there and there, but I don't think I don't think he's that good for Manchester United, and that's potentially my opinion. According to Raiola, his current agent, him and Mourinho fixed his relationship up now. There has been talks about him potentially making a return to Juventus. There has been talks about that in the press as well. But potentially, with the board and their owners now, the club are potentially focused on who to get in the January window. There is talks going on who Manchester United wants to get in the January window. Mourinho's had discussions with us about Ed Woodward. Potentially, the board and their owners are also focused on these players who are coming to end the deals. We know we've got a catalogue of players, coming to end the deals, and the board and the owners are focusing on getting these players new deals at Manchester United. Potentially, we know David De Gea. Potentially, he hasn't signed this new contract extension yet at the club. He's won Player of the Year 4 out of 5 seasons. Potentially, he has been here since 2011, so he has experienced the good times under Alex Ferguson. He's a player of his calibre. We should be more of a commanding position, considering the money we've spent. But I think he's been here about 7, 8 years now. David De Gea, potentially the best goalkeeper in the world, as we all know. Potentially, Mourinho said quite a few weeks ago he wasn't too convinced. David De Gea was going to sign his new contract extension at Old Trafford. We know his current representatives have been discussions about him potentially signing his new contract extension. David De Gea is refusing him at the moment, as we all know. Potentially, for me, he loves Manchester United, does David De Gea. He does love the club, but he's unsatisfied with what's going on at the club. What's going on with Jose Mourinho at the moment. Potentially wants to be up there challenging for silverware. Does David De Gea? He wants to get his hands on the Champions League. He wants to, for us to compete for the Premier League. And we know Manchester United are competing. A lot of these players are starting to realise that, especially De Gea's noticing the lack of ambition in the team, the lack of work ethic, as we all know. But potentially, Man United, if David De Gea is to leave and he doesn't sign this new contract extension, reportedly, Man United have identified Jordan Pickford as a potential replacement. As I did mention to you on my last couple of videos, Jordan Pickford, his performances in the World Cup for England again in Russia, were absolutely fantastic during the World Cup because England reached the semi-finals. Jordan Pickford's only been at Everton since 2017, so he's been there just like over a year now as Jordan Pickford. He's a player that I think he's made around 50 appearances in the Premier League for Everton. For Everton, he's won Everton young player of the season, Everton player of the season, and Everton young player of the season, as well as Jordan Pickford. Reportedly, if Man United are willing to go for the player, Everton will demand that they'll want about £60 million. If Everton and Manchester United are willing to do business together. I can't see Manchester United paying up to £60 million for Jordan Pickford. He's a player that's been loaned at a few teams as well. He's risen up the ranks at Sunderland. He's been at Darlington on loan. He's been at Alfred Town on loan. He's been at Burton on loan. He's been at Bradford on loan. He's been at Carlisle on loan, and he's been at Preston North End on loan as Jordan Pickford as well. But reportedly, if David De Gea is to leave, Man United will potentially want to get him as a potential replacement, because obviously we've got Lee Grant as a second choice keeper. Potentially, they think Jordan Pickford would do fantastically well if he was to come to Manchester United. Would basically have to see what happens, but we know it hasn't been the same since Alex Ferguson left, because we know there's a potential I will start for a lot of years. As I said, we didn't even have this bad a start under David Moyes. We didn't even have this bad a start under Louis van Gaal. As I said, so potentially what's going on off Sky Sports said, is Jose Mourinho getting the best out of this squad, best out of this team. Jose Mourinho is to blame as well, but we know he's had disputes with quite a few of the top players as well as Jose Mourinho since he's come to the club. Lukaku hasn't been in great form this season. Jose Mourinho's been going with Lindelof and Smalling this season, to be quite fair. And to be quite fair, Lindelof dramatically improved this season. To be quite fair to him, he's been doing very, very good for Sweden as well. But potentially we know he's under so much pressure, Jose Mourinho. He's still convinced we can get that top four. As I said, potentially we do have to get the top four for Champions League next season. But potentially Mourinho's got to get it right against Crystal Palace, as I said, because obviously this is a big, massive club with a fantastic history. We've had great players over the years. Under Ferguson, great success, won the treble in 1999. 13 Premier League titles. So this is still a massive, massive club based on its fantastic, fantastic history. And we know we're not going to get a manager as comparable as Ferguson. Sometimes you've got to give managers time. David Moyes was always an average manager. He never had a good pedigree. He never had any silverware out. He came from Everton. He was at Everton about 9 years or so. Van Gaal didn't have the correct philosophy at Manchester United. Basically, sometimes you've got to give managers time, because it's basically, Alex Ferguson, it took him 4 years to win a trophy in Man United, and basically he was on the verge of getting sacked, and look what he achieved. But, this is now Jose Mourinho's third season at the club. We're not in a position that we should be in, and these performances have got to dramatically improve as well. We know in the Champions League, we're one game away from qualification. As we all know, we got a massive, massive winning in a couple of weeks ago. And potentially from now till Christmas, we basically haven't got many difficult fixtures, as we all know, from now till Christmas. So potentially for me, Toby Alderweireld, he's Premier League proven. I think he'd fit the Manchester United agenda fantastically well, in my opinion. I think he'd do well in that centre back position, and he can play as a left back as well. Do you think Diego Gordon would fit in them? Do you think he'd come in the Manchester United era and do fantastically well, with his team and under Jose Mourinho? I'd like to know your opinions on it, guys. I really would like to know your opinions. Would you like to see Memphis Depay come back to the club? There has been talks about it. A lot of Man United fans want Mourinho to activate his buyback clause. Man United fans want to see him come back in. He didn't establish himself fantastically well under Louis van Gaal. But potentially now he's been doing very, very well with Leon. He's in, fantastic form with them, as I said. But Yeah, we have still got a lot of players coming to end their deals, and Manchester United needs to focus on getting these players to sign new deals. Mourinho is going to obviously sanction some players off. He reportedly wants to get rid of Bailey and Marcus Rojo, as we all know. But potentially we do need a central defender. That right-hand side does needs addressing because teams have been exploiting it far too easily, as we all know. So potentially, yeah. So that's basically it. And as I said at the start of the video about Evra, yes, Man United are reportedly, is in Man United are reportedly in discussions. Is in discussions of potentially becoming. Tuchev in discussions of potentially becoming the club ambassador at Manchester United. So that's the big breaking news about that. To update you guys as well. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless, guys. And there will be more live videos coming up very soon. Thank you for watching.